All right, golfers, today I'm going to talk to you about how to cool down after you're playing or practicing golf. We've all been there. It's been maybe a hot, long day on the golf course, and you get home and, you might be flaking out in front of the TV. You've got some time where you can actually get some good recovery work done if you know what to do and when to do it. And if you don't do anything and you just flop on the couch and fall asleep, you wake up the next day, you might be a little more stiff and sore than you could be. If you just employ this, 5 to 8 minute recovery routine that I can give you. Couple things you want to note is you need to know where your tight spots or trouble spots are. Most people are restricted in at least 2 of the 4 rotary centers. Those are going to be your neck, your shoulders, your spine, and your hips. So if you're not sure where your tight spots are, you can check out the free home assessment in the description. It'll show you exactly where your tight spots are. But this is going to be a general cool down that you can use. It's going to hit the major rotary centers. We're going to get a little bit of shoulder, a little bit of hip, and a little bit of trunk rotation. So you'll also need a couple pieces of equipment. Foam roller is ideal, and a lacrosse ball. Okay, so very minimal equipment. We need to address the soft tissue. Okay, so the actual muscles that are responsible for all the rotation that we've been doing on the golf course. We need to address the hips primarily. You'll want to check out some spots here. One of them is called our TFL. That's our tensor fascia lata. So it's a main internal hip rotator. For most people, it's really, really tight. You're going to find this bony lump at the front of your hip, or your pelvis, and you want to have the ball just beneath that, right about where I'd slide my hand into the pocket. You're going to feel there's a spot right there in that hip crease. You want to be not right on the front, slightly off to the side, and all I'm going to do is actually keep the ball on that spot, have that leg straight, and I'm just going to roll onto that spot. So I'm pressing the ball in place there. So now I've got that ball pressing into, I'm going to bring my other leg all the way over, and I can get this arm out of the way. So I'm right on top of that lacrosse ball. And from here, I'm going to just use my body, rock back and forth till I feel that ball wedging into a spot where it doesn't feel so good. Make sure you can still breathe comfortably. And now I'm going to just slowly relax on top of that. So again, you can chill out while you're watching something on TV and just kind of rock back and forth with your pelvis. Find the tight spots. If it doesn't feel too uncomfortable, you can sort of pin and strip or tack and strip that muscle by bending the knee 90 degrees and then rotating that thigh in and out like that. So actually getting some internal and external rotation in the hip. That's going to be about a minute on each side. Then you'll want to address also your glute medius, which is at the back side of your hip. So the very top back part of your butt cheek, right where your waistband would be. Again, you're going to lean back on that, lean onto your elbow, right on top of it. You're going to slowly move your pelvis around a little bit, searching for those tight spots. And once you find it, just hold it there and try and relax the leg. Let the muscle relax. You're essentially just searching for those sore spots, and just once you find one, just park it there. Take a few deep breaths. You can just sustain that compression on that trigger point and allow the muscle to relax. If you want to add some movement to it, you can just bring the bottom knee up towards the top knee like that. Do that about 5 or 6 times. Find a new spot. Again, 30 to 60 seconds on each side once you've found those trigger points. Then we hit the shoulders, the infraspinatus muscle, which is just beneath the top crest of your shoulder blade. Take the ball, stick it behind your armpit, and then you're going to just slowly lean back on that spot. I'm just going to angle my body this way, so I'm, again, right on top of the shoulder blade, and I'm going to rock back and forth, wedge the ball in there. Once I've found that sore spot, again, you're just looking for a spot that's a little uncomfortable. Breathe. You should be able to breathe while you're doing this. If this is too much pressure, okay, you can just lean against a wall and place the ball back there as well, and that will take some of the pressure off. Okay. Hopefully you're finding some of these tips really helpful, guys. Give us a subscribe on our channel. That really help us out. As you're doing this infraspinatus release, you can keep the elbow 90 degrees and just rotate that arm, getting you into some external rotation. And again, once you're on the trigger point, 30 to 60 seconds each side. So you give your soft tissue a little bit of love, a little bit of attention, And now we're going to get to the foam roller, and we're going to work into our mid-back a little bit. All right, all we're going to do is take this foam roller, place it right between the shoulder blades, and I'm just going to do a few little extensions here. So I've got my head supported. I'm not pulling on the head, I'm just keeping it neutral. I got a little space between my chin and collarbones, but I'm not going to extend the neck here. I want you to just try and extend your middle back right between your shoulder blades. Just let that extend over the roller a little bit, and then slowly come up, and then let it extend again. So you do that 2 or 3 times, breathing as you do it, and then just come up to neutral. Use your feet, push into the floor to bring the roller just a little lower down your spine. So I'm kind of the bottom half of my shoulder blades, and then I do 2 or 3 extensions again. 1, 2. So again, we're just getting a little more extension in that mid back and T-spine or thoracic spine. And then again, I get just beneath the shoulder blades, and this is where it starts to feel a little tighter. You can see here, I'm not extending the neck and chin. That's a pro tip for you. Keep that neck supported, and I'm keeping my abs engaged so I'm not arching the back. Okay, so if you're really tight in the T-spine, you might not have as much movement as I'm showing you here. You might just be moving a tiny little bit if you're moving from that middle part of the back. Once you slowly do your last extension, roll it onto your side. Now we can work on opening up and rotating that spine. So this is one of my favorite stretches here. We're going to get into that book opener stretch, laying on my side. And I use that foam roller to support this top leg. I've got it at hip height. And this arm is going to be right on top of that leg. Hand on the forehead. If you want a little pillow underneath your head, you can do that. Again, just like you're shielding your eyes from the sun. And then I'm going to just rotate my chest open as much as I can, making sure this leg does not lift off the roller. Want to keep this pelvis stable. Just rotate the upper half with this book opener. Inhale as I come forward. Exhale as I open up to the side. Trying to get my shoulder blade here as close to the floor as I can. Inhale forward. Exhale to the end range. You can take an extra breath while you're at the end range here. Trying to get that shoulder a little closer to the floor. So as you're doing this, you should notice that you feel with each breath like you get a little bit more range of motion. Okay? Again, you can do about 6 to 8 of those on each side with the book openers. Now we're going to move up into my favorite 90-90 position here. So that's where your front leg's 90 degrees at the knee, your back leg's 90 degrees at the knee, and we've got a nice box shape here of 90-degree angles between your rear thigh and your front shin. So I've got my 90-90 position. I'm trying to keep my spine as tall as I can. And we're just going to take this 90-90 and work at rotating through this position. So I'm going to go from here. We're going to get into some internal rotation in this rear hip. I'm going to turn my chest, bring this hand behind me. So I'm getting a little trunk rotation, but I'm really working this hip into internal rotation. And I want you to feel like it's okay to lean back a little bit. You don't have to be right over top of this leg. Lean back a little bit, turn that chest, and now I can feel like I'm turning into this rear hip a little bit. Both shins are pressed down into the floor, and I'm rotating as much as I can. Take a breath, and then I'm going to rotate the other way. Bring that trail hand up. Look over the shoulder. Take an extra breath there, and then I come back this way and rotate all the way back. Hold for another breath and try and get a little more rotation. Starting to feel them deep stretch in that hip. Rotate again and bring it back. So I'm getting a nice trunk stretch here, rotating the trunk, getting some internal rotation in that trail leg as I push the trunk this way. I'm feeling a deep stretch in that hip. And you're going to go back and forth about 5 or 6 times each direction, and then you just flip sides. So those simple exercises, again, make sure you hit the soft tissue spots. Your book opener and your 90-90 trunk rotations are going to be a fantastic way to get your body kind of just recovered. Again, should take you 10, maybe 15 minutes at the most if you take a little more time with those exercises. But it's going to give you a great jump start on your recovery. Especially if you play 2 days in a row, it's going to make you to feel a lot better when you wake up in the morning. Hope you guys found that helpful. Give us a subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.